Mav's Coffee Clarity with Denise is brought to you in partnership with Drive Media and Consulting and their premier sponsors. Subscribe on your favorite streaming platforms and share. If you just found us, welcome. And if you're a regular, welcome back. Denise DiGrigoli has spent her life in the creative industries as an entrepreneur, helping people transform their visions into thriving businesses, working with individuals and teams to find their purpose and live their life vibrantly. On her pod, Denise delivers business intel and life hacks with wit and wisdom in short shots like a strong espresso with a solid sense of humor. Enjoy this episode of Mav's Coffee Clarity, and here's Mav.
Welcome, my friends. You are on Mav's Coffee Clarity with Denise. Every week, we're spilling the beans on business intel and life hacks. I believe everybody's been a maverick, whether it be for a minute, a moment, or a lifetime. This is a show to help you move forward in work, love, and life. And come on, who doesn't need that? Every week, I interview some fascinating people from all walks of life that share their fiascos and their silver linings with ideas and tips to help you move forward. And today, I've got Mindy Miller back on the pod, as promised, with her transformation Mindy method. Now, if you didn't listen to Mindy before, please go back and listen to at least part 2, if not part 1, because Mindy's continuing our journey. We're right at the midpoint of the year, but you could start this anytime. Min, welcome back to Mav's Coffee Clarity. How have you been?
I've been fabulous. We're in my season. I'm a summer girl. And I love it. I love it.
You love it?
Yeah. It's all good. It's all good.
All right. So last we left off, we were talking about the fact that you had lost and have maintained your 80-pound reduction. That's almost like you lost half a person, if not more. But it was quite a journey. It was quite a process over a few years. And you told us that it was a combination of not only diet and exercise, but mindset. And in part 2, we talked about denial, and we talked about how you speak to yourself, your inner dialogue, how you parent that little inner child. So today we want to know more about your methods for longevity and the way that you're not only maintaining, we'll call a weight reduction, because if I say it's lost, that implies we're going to find it. And I don't want to find the 80 pounds anywhere, and especially on me. But I want to share with our audience your beans on what's Min doing to keep it off. You said it's your season.
Yeah.
Have at it, my friend.
So this has been probably, when I say the most difficult time in the process, I mean that for whatever reason, the last few months, lots of events, lots of things to do, eating and whatnot, and not being able to stay on the same exercise regimen that I'd been on and that type of thing. So it's like, oh my goodness, a couple pounds here or there, and like kind of work on it. However, the good news is that I started to use my own method on myself.
You're your focus group?
Yes.
I say laboratory animal?
Exactly. I am my own rat.
Oh, you're your own rat.
Exactly. I'm the hamster on
But
the
you're
wheel.
not a rat.
No. Well,
you wouldn't rat me out, would you, Min?
No, you know what? It depends how much I'm being paid, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. A girl's got to do what a girl's got to do. But I would share with you. Whatever proceeds I got for ratting you out. So
okay.
But anyway, so I literally will put my camera on video and record myself giving myself my own pep talk, my own,
So you kind of tell on yourself. And we
Yeah.
talked about that in the last episode.
Exactly.
Just freaking tell on yourself.
Yeah, keep it real. Just don't be in denial. You don't have to be perfect, but don't pretend.
So
that
what might you be
everything's okay.
saying when you're telling on yourself?
So a lot of times it'll be like a couple different things. Sometimes it'll be like, I know you don't want to get up and go to the gym and do a hard workout, but you really need it. You need it for your mind, your body, your spirit. Get up and go. You're going to feel so much better when you're finished. And I just started telling myself, and you've made a commitment. You're a responsible human being. You made a commitment to yourself. Do it. This is not punishment. This is self-love. So, and I go.
So that's on the video. Like, hey, get
Yes.
to the gym, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Excuse
Yeah.
my French. We
Yeah.
can swear on the pod.
Yeah, exactly. Well, because here's the other thing. It's like we have it so backwards. It's like flipping the script. It's kind of like, and I think you and I talked about this recently, the reward isn't eating a big meal and maybe drinking some alcohol and having that huge ice cream sundae afterwards. And then you have to go to the gym the next day, and that's your punishment for all that. No. You've punished yourself by being gluttonous. And we all do. I mean, it's life. We're all going to do that. But going to the gym, committing the next day to waking up and eating healthier, so you don't let the snowball thing start. That's the reward. The reward is that you get to start over every day being good to yourself, loving yourself,
Yes.
working out, eating better.
So you have a choice.
Yeah, but we tend to think that the reward is the ice cream because we've been good all week. No.
Well, the reward is a treat, right? The ice cream's a treat, but I hear what you're saying. Flip the narrative, flip the script, that don't make something good for yourself like exercise or meditation or journaling or a creative pursuit a bad thing.
Right. That's not your punishment for all the other treats that you had. No, a treat's a treat. Look, we all need them and we all want them, and it's okay. It goes back to my 80-20 rule.
Oh, my trainer says that too,
right,
Lynn. You got 20, the 80-20 going.
Yes, the 20% is the French fries, the Coronas, the, whatever it is.
Organic white wine, said no one in the room.
No, I don't know what you're talking about.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, so that's all good. That's fine. That's living. That's life. It's fine. But you have to put it in its proper perspective.
Right.
And you have to not look at the flip side of it as being the bad side or the hard side or the tough side or the woe is me side. It's like, no, that's amazing.
Now, what if you're videotaping and telling on yourself?
Mm-hmm.
And you find yourself, because I can do this, especially if I have my camera mirror image or I'm looking in the mirror. Like sometimes I can scare myself, and I give myself such directives that I almost freak myself out. How do you combat some of that inner dialogue?
So it's sort of like I believe with a lot of other people that there's two sides of ourselves. Some people call it the higher self, the lower self. Some people call it the true self versus the ego.
The shadow.
Exactly. I look at it as like my true self versus the talker. I actually, more succinctly, it's the observer versus the chatterbox. And so the chatterbox is basically your ego that is, the works with your psyche based on your experience. Like, so it's the chatterbox, all that noise you hear, But then you have the observer, who's your true authentic self, who's observing this and who's listening to this and hearing it all. And it's like, and you'll know when you start really practicing, you'll know when the observer is observing and the chatterbox is chatterboxing. And
that's kind of like, just segue here. That's kind of when you say sit with your shit.
Yeah.
Right? Because you have to be able to catch that fulcrum, the chatterbox and the higher self, and say, okay, what's happening here? So that you kind of pull yourself out of it and become the observer.
Exactly. And then the observer takes over.
So how did you learn how to do this? So for our audiences listening, it sounds all great on paper.
Right.
But how do I do it, Min? How do I do it?
It took me a while because I remember reading something by Eckhart Tolle in I think it was The New Earth. I think. I'd have to clarify that. But anyway, it was Eckhart Tolle talking about at his low point when he literally was thinking of taking his own life.
Wow.
And he got to the point where he was about to do it, and somebody himself said to him, like, what if it gets better? What if it could get better? And he was like, who's talking to me?
Yeah, right.
And then he realized that, like, there was this other part of him that was calmer, cooler, collected.
Do you think everybody
rational.
has that?
Absolutely.
How can they find it if it's been buried for a bazillion years?
Pay attention. Pretend that you're job is to pay attention to like the new kid in school or at work, and you're kind of watching and seeing like, who is this person? Start doing that. I mean, I literally have so many instances where I have to call on that more grounded, authentic observer.
What I've learned over the years too, I always start the year off with an anchor word. Like this year it's invite, allow, release, right? I have to give myself permission. So my inner dialogue starts very restrictive and you need to and you should. And I say you shouldn't should on yourself, right?
Right.
So to be the observer in my life, what I need to allow myself to do is give myself permission, first of all, just to be me. And on Mavs Coffee Clarity, my friends, we say, listen, none of us are broken. Wherever we are, we are, right? And we have our maverick moments, whether it's a minute or a lifetime. And I say, listen, nobody can change it, Denise, but you. So I really value what you said on the last show, sit with it. Sit with it until it goes, because sometimes we react to it so fast, we make it bigger than it is.
Right. And we're reacting a lot of times to what we think might happen, or
like we play imaginary fortune teller.
And we don't know. We don't know. But that's self-protection. That's where anxiety comes from. Your brain is built to keep you safe. Your brain is built to scan every second of every moment looking for predictions. Like
I scan the deli case for macaroons kind of thing?
Exactly. 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 It's the same kind of scan.
It's like a honing.
Right. You're looking for something that you want or you think might happen. And, you're at the bologna counter when you're looking for like the brownies. It's like,
I think though, as human beings, don't you agree that our ego seeks to prove our point of view wherever we're at?
Absolutely.
So you had to have a huge point of view shift to lose 80 pounds.
Right.
Did it happen overnight?
No.
I know you don't like when people ask you this question, but I have to do it for our listeners. Are you on some sort of weight loss medication?
No, I'm not. And
are you going to slap me now?
I might.
Yeah.
No. So at first when people would ask me if I was,
we won't say the brand. Oh no.
oh no.
Oh no. Let me have some coffee.
And and it bothered me. I mean, it didn't bother me. It made me laugh. Kind of like, no. But I have to tell you, as time goes on and people ask me that, I am starting to get a little bit of an attitude towards it, because I don't like the way it makes me feel defensive. And when I get defensive, as we do, I want to project the judgment onto somebody else. And I'm trying very hard to like refrain from that. Again, this is my journey. It's the way it is. What do I care what other people think?
So you made this choice, no medication.
Absolutely.
You went at it from a point of view like I remember being with you a few years ago when you said, I'm doing bloody. I was like, really? And you said, and I am taking as much time as it needs.
Which is so different for me.
Right. And so different for the world. We need immediate gratification.
Right.
Right. And that is really a testament to you kind of doing the inner parenting, reparenting of the inner child and saying, I'm okay just the way I am. And when I get really cratchery, I'm going to sit in my poopy diaper.
Right. Exactly.
Right.
Because here's the thing too. It's like we have these expectations, to be, and a lot of it has to do with trying to be perfect,
Right.
And perfection is not the goal ever, because it doesn't exist. So we set ourselves
to keep moving that target.
We set ourselves up, oh my Lord.
But did you have your coffee today, man? Well, there's a fly in yours right now. Oh my, what a wonderful host I am.
You know what? That's how I get my protein. Oh my Lord, there is. Get out of there. So what was I saying?
I don't know. That was hysterical. Oh my God. If you guys are watching this on YouTube, that's worth a look.
Yeah, seriously. But we set ourselves up for failure right out of the gate if we're looking for perfection. So that was one of the things that I was like, okay, I can't do that. The other thing is that, let's face it, I tried many things for many years and it didn't work. So it was kind of like, you know what? Let me just take my time. That I've never tried before. That was like the second thing. So I did not want to set myself up for failure, which meant I had to commit to whatever time it took. Mm-hmm. And I think also there was a moment when I realized, because I thought about taking medication, for me, is that I knew at that point in my life, if I didn't deal with the internal stuff, even a pill wouldn't work.
When you were going through a transition in your marriage and your career, so you had a lot of stuff happening. And so many people do. It's like we just lop things on. Oh, hey, my marriage is doing this and my kids are doing that and my career is doing this. Let me just throw one thing on extra, lose 80 pounds.
Right, exactly.
So for, again, people that are listening, and thank you. If you're new, welcome. We have a variety of fabulous guests, as you can see. And if you're a regular, welcome back. What are our listeners doing right now? They're stuck. They're hot. It's summer. They're mad at themselves because they have these few extra pounds or maybe more than a few, and they're discontented. Even though I've just said wherever we are, we're supposed to be.
Well,
including the podcast host.
Right, exactly. Well, no, I believe that. We are where we are for a reason. But I think the first thing is to start talking to yourself the way you would a child, and I'm a firm believer in that. I've heard
like Gaga, Goo Goo, I love you.
Yeah, well, maybe if that's what it is. I think that, I always heard about like, oh, your inner child and inner child work, but I didn't really know what that meant until I found myself doing things like, when I started talking nicer to myself. And, oh, Mindy, it'll be okay. I felt literally I would catch myself holding myself, putting my hands on my heart, sometimes grabbing my arms. It's like, holy crap. Like,
you're here. I feel you.
I guess I need a hug.
I see you.
I need a hug. I need something. It's like, and this was like stuff that I, would have been like, oh, please. Yeah, okay, let me give myself a hug. But I would just intuitively be doing that.
Right.
And the more I spoke nicer to myself, it was almost like I was doing it in a way that was calm, cool, collected, compassionate, all the C's, I guess. And it was making such a difference. It was making such a difference. And if I had a day that was rough or a couple of days that were rough and it was like, oh, what am I doing? This is so like, this is really hard, or, I don't know what's the end game, what's going on, I would take a moment and say, Min, you're doing great. Mm-hmm. You're doing great. Perfection is not the goal here. The goal is to just keep moving forward.
What it feels like to me, to simplify it to our listener, is imagine the fact that what Mindy just said is free. Talking kindly to yourself costs zero. Costs zero. You just have to remember to do it. And if it's that simple of a process that could open the door for greater things for you to allow to happen, or permission to be okay with the way you were, that seems to me like an incredibly valuable yet very inexpensive gift.
Absolutely. Because self-loathing is a very hard place to do anything good or transformative for yourself when you're in self-loathing. Self-love is
it's like
where
pluck that root out.
Exactly.
And you said something very interesting, which I loved, on the part 2 episode, which was write down all the crazy things you say to yourself. Keep a journal of your asshole behavior. Mm-hmm. Write it down and then look at it and say, would you even say that to anyone? Never mind a child.
Right, exactly. I mean, I think of to this day, I have some very specific moments in my life where I still remember the horrifying things I said to myself. And I'm like, oh my Lord, like I would never do that now. In fact, now I catch myself being really nice to myself. And
that's great.
And I get so happy about it because, like I screw up, things happen or whatever, but I find myself being nice to myself about it. And I'm like, whoa.
I bet you so many people are listening going, I wish I could do that. But you can, my friends.
Right. You can. But it's a practice.
Just do it.
It's a practice like anything else.
Try it.
It's like what I say. You have to make a commitment to being consistent. And that will
C
create
to C.
Yes.
I want you to tattoo it on your toe.
Right.
C to C, a commitment to being consistent.
Yes. And that creates the discipline muscle where you can grab that tremendous tool out of your toolbox when you need it. I think the fly's in my ear. Something happened. Sorry.
Can you hear?
Yeah. Geez, oh whiz.
Okay.
Literally felt like there was. Anyway, it doesn't matter.
Well, here in southern Berkshire County, where we've been filming all week, my friends, we have a variety of natural instincts that seem to make their way into the podcast studio.
Exactly.
Flies, rogue crickets. We don't even know.
He's there talking. He's there listening.
That's like the bane of my existence, these little insects. Go ahead. Sorry.
But you don't
Sorry, friends.
But you don't have all this beauty without it. So
Right.
Anyway, I feel like, once you can figure out how to turn self-loathing into self-love, and that's by, in my case at least, was speaking better to myself and being very conscientious of it. Stopping myself when I'd start being like, you effing idiot or something. Oh, Mindy, come on. You
or
know
why'd
better than
you eat
that.
that again, you dumb da-da-da-da-da-da.
Right, exactly. And then you say, okay, I heard you, not going down that path. You literally have a conversation with yourself between the chatterbox and the observer. And you kind of, it's like any other muscle that you flex. It's like it just gets better as you practice it. So, yeah.
So the other thing that we were talking about in our pre-show call was longevity. So much of this show is pointing to longevity. Whether you're 10 years old, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, it's a multi-generational workplace and world now, right? And by virtue of the internet and work and global work, everybody needs to learn from everybody. So how does your work and the Mindy method of transformation tap into increased longevity, whatever that looks like for anybody?
Well, I think that we have to put longevity into perspective. It's like we have to do the things that prolong, joy, health, all that kind of stuff. But then we also have to understand that some things just weren't meant to be placed in the longevity bucket.
Like what?
Certain relationships.
That's a hot topic.
Certain relationships.
I feel part 4 coming.
Right. But certain relationships we hang on to because for sentimental reasons that served us once but no longer serve us, that we have to put them in their proper place because it's actually, you're thinking that, this longevity has brought me this far. I might as well continue with it when it doesn't serve you anymore. Certain practices that once were healthy for a person, just because you've been doing them for a long time and were healthy for you at one point, don't serve you anymore. So we have to kind of be fluid.
So everything doesn't have a shelf life, or does it?
I think, I think everything does have a shelf life, and we have to be honed in and tuned into what's serving us in the moment.
So you're okay with putting some things on the shelf?
I think you have to, for the sake of longevity.
For sake of longevity.
Yeah.
And how would you define longevity for you personally and for your clients? Are they the same?
Yes. I mean, whatever I do for myself, is good for my clients. Anything that is good for them needs to be good for me. It has to work if it doesn't work for me, how would I possibly help somebody else? So,
right.
Yes. Defining longevity for me is probably, productive keeps coming into my head and health keeps coming into my head. So I think that what I'm intuitively thinking is that you have to take responsibility for being productive in your own life, in things, in areas that will sort of push the ball down the field.
It was interesting, not only with you, but with other clients, but will you use you as an example? You started off planking, couldn't do 20 seconds. Now you do 4 minutes. I know my husband is going through a shoulder surgery repair, right? He couldn't lift his arm past a broken chicken wing. And now, so it's like incremental steps of whatever it is you're working on leads to some kind of longevity. And longevity for me personally is, yes, it's health, it's perspective, and it's also being right in this moment, right? This moment is full of longevity. And then if you get through this moment, you can find the longevity in the next moment. And I think that's where we tie in that self-talk, right? Longevity and that self-talk come together. So we love having you on the pod, Min. And I'm just trying to see where we can find breaks in your schedule so you can become a monthly potter. Not fodder, potter.
Potter. Do I have to wear a diaper for that?
No, I don't know. That was kind of a weird word. Part of the pod where you share this kind of transformational wisdom, because I think a lot of people do look for the fast fix in weight loss. I know I have. I mean, you hear Leanne Morgan, one of the famous comedians, say, you know, Weight Watchers is one of the most expensive weight loss programs she's ever been on, losing the same 8 pounds and gaining it back for a bazillion years, right? And she was actually worried at one point, would they not let her back in for the 9th time? I raise my hand for that, my friends. Right. And it's really through your work that I have connected this year in my own way, some of your transformational ideas in like nutrition and intuition. Right. Is it good for me? And I don't just mean food, because I love to shoot the whipped cream straight out of the bottle from, you know, Trader Joe's, and, you know, hide a macaroon way in the back of the freezer. No one knows about, said no one on this pod.
Who are you sneaking it from? Like,
I don't even know.
Right, exactly.
It's just I need something to tell on myself about, because it shows up on my hips or my rear, and it's like, where did that thing come from? I don't know. It was in the back of the freezer. But my point is, how do we, what can we leave the audience with today? We've made fun, we've made it simple. Obviously, losing 80 pounds over 2.5 years was simple, but it wasn't. How can they start today? Where are we putting their toe in the water? Give us that maverick wisdom, Min. Let us know what it is.
All right. Find the balance between being kind to yourself and holding yourself accountable. You're not a victim. You're not a victim. You've got the power. Be kind to yourself, and everything will start to flow from there. Self-love. Self-love.
Okay. It's simple and it's free. It's self-talk in a nice way. Min, where can people find out more about you?
Right now, just in my Instagram, Seriously Mindy.
Seriously Mindy. And she is seriously Mindy about her self-talk. Okay, my friends, guess what? If you want to know more about my creative services, executive coaching, mindful wellness, go to DeniseDiGregoli.com and sign up for the bi-weekly brew, or hit me up in the contact section. All right. Peace out, my friends. Mav has got to pack up and get back to Connecticut. We've been filming live this week from the Berkshires in Massachusetts. We love you. Thank you for listening and sharing. You've been on Mav's Coffee Clarity with Denise. Min, we love you. We'll see you soon.
Bye.
Closing with Zip and Zest. Mav's Coffee Clarity with Denise is brought to you on partnership with Drive Media Consulting and their premier sponsors. Subscribe on your favorite streaming platforms and be sure to share.